wheelchair users do come up in, TV programs and films and things, but it's often accompanied by a really tragic or sad storyline.
Yeah.
And of course that is some people's story, but it's not everyone's.
Hello and welcome to Girls with Goals. I'm Niamh Maher. I'm delighted to welcome my guests to studio today, Izzy and Ailbhe Keane, the ladies behind Izzy Wheels. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm so delighted to have you on the show. Izzy, this is my first time meeting you, but Ailbhe, we met a good few months back at a business networking event that we held here at Her, and I was so impressed with you. And then Ailbhe, when we got back in touch, I was like, I can't believe it's taken us this long to have you on Girls with Goals. So very excited to have you.
Oh, excited. So excited.
So we're going to talk about Izzy Wheels, obviously, and we're going to talk about the brand and the business and your lives and stuff. But first off, we are going to start with our game. So it's called 6 Words or Less. So you have to describe yourself in 6 words or less. And for any of our readers or listeners or viewers of the show now as well, who may not know who you are. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Go on, Izzy, why not?
So the 6 words I chose are: my disability is my superpower.
Oh, I love that. I love it when people choose a sentence. Most people go for words, but my disability is my superpower. Wow.
Yeah, so basically everything I've always been about is showing people who are meeting me for the first time or don't have any previous knowledge of wheelchairs or disabilities that a disability isn't necessarily a negative thing. I don't want people to be afraid to approach the topic or approach me in general. And my disability has taught me so much about other people, about myself, and about the world around me. So it's really given me a lot more than it's taken from me, really. So yeah.
I think it's one of those things as well, it's interesting that you said that about making it really approachable, because I feel sometimes now, whether it's just an Irish thing or whether it's a cultural thing, but I think people are afraid of maybe saying the wrong thing, and with that they just won't mention anything. And whereby it's really nice to hear you talk about it in that way, as in you want to talk about it, you want to speak about it. It's not something that you're ashamed of or anything. And I think that really leads in nicely with Izzy Wheels. But we're going to let Ailbhe do her 6 words and then we'll get back into it as well. Go on. I don't know if you can top that though. But
I know. So I'm colourful, bubbly, hardworking, big sister.
Love that. Definitely colourful. Anybody who's listening to this episode as opposed to watching it, the colours are just mesmerising. But that's kind of your thing, isn't it? Since I've been watching you guys, has it always been like that? Have you always been into incredible fashion and colour since a young age?
We love colour.
And what about your other siblings? Because you were telling me before, it's not just the two of you.
Nope.
So is it a colourful family?
Not as much. I guess me and Izzy are definitely the most colourful. We're the two youngest in the family, and we've got a big brother and a big sister as well. So we have another sister, Sinead. She likes colour, but I think she likes more muted tones than we do.
Well, I wouldn't call you as muted. Anyway, I was actually thinking, I knew that I was going to wear pink pants today, and then I didn't, just because I didn't like the way they looked on me this morning. But I just knew that you were going to come and smash me anyway in terms of the colour. So it didn't really matter. But so I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing and growing up in Galway. Because, you said there about your disability, Izzy, and talking about it in a way that's not negative. And I think I've read articles and I've watched interviews that you guys have done about Izzy Wheels, the brand, which we're going to get onto. And one of the things, is about the fact that you've always decorated your wheelchair. And it's always been something that you felt proud of when it kind of reflected your personality. So, growing up with a disability, what was that like? Did you ever feel like your wheelchair was a negative thing?
So, growing up, I've always had so much respect and love for my wheelchair. It enables me to do everything. But one stumbling block I always came across for as long as I can remember is, showing it as something positive to other people. And that's because wheelchairs are so ugly and intimidating looking. So, from when we were really little, Ailbhe used to decorate my chair, for special occasions, and straight away for like Christmas or anything, people would approach me completely different for those few days of the year, and it was just unreal. It made me so happy, but I always wanted a way for that to be able to be prolonged, and as soon as Izzy Wheels came along, like, we'd found the key, and it was unreal.
It all kind of started to make sense.
Yes.
So literally, like, I think that's so fascinating that on those kind of special occasions, you decorated your wheels to make it reflect your personality a little bit more, and instantly people would come up to you and approach you and talk to you about the wheelchair, which, like Ailbhe, you said before, it is a medical device, and it is there for a very important purpose, to enable people who aren't able to move around. And I mean, obviously, Izzy Wheels started off as a college project for you. Isn't that where it came from?
Yeah,
so tell us a bit about the beginnings of it.
Well, I guess the idea was always kind of there because, I've known Izzy since she was born, and she's always been a wheelchair user. So I never saw her wheelchair as something that was negative. It was always like a really friendly object to me. And even when Izzy was really young and had like all different kind of like these little kind of cars you get before you're strong enough to push a wheelchair, I just remember thinking they were so cool and so fun. And I've always seen a wheelchair as something like really positive, and so was Izzy. So like that's always something that we celebrated, so that's why we love decorating it. So like Christmas lights or Halloween decorations or whatever time of the year it was, that you could turn your wheelchair into something that expressed time of the year or your personality. So that was always something that was there, and we loved doing it together. We've got loads of really funny photos of us.
I saw on your website, there's a picture of you, I think you're around 6, and I don't know whether you're at school or something like that, but I mean, it just looks like there's thousands of stickers on the spokes, and then it's side by side with you at like 22, and with just this beautiful design on the wheel. So it's something that's kind of always been there, but obviously it wasn't a business at that point. It was just for you guys, like, growing up.
And Izzy Wheels never started off as something that we thought was going to become a business. So I went to NCAD. And for our final year, we had a self-directed brief. So you could kind of do whatever you wanted. And there was like a whole range of different briefs you could do as kind of like a starting point. And I came across this brief, and it was to empower the lives of someone living with a long-term lifestyle-related health condition. And I thought of Izzy straight away, and I was like, it's a really good opportunity to dedicate a block of time to actually creating something to make the wheelchair look better or work better. So we came up with all sorts of ideas at the beginning, like umbrellas and bags and kind of different accessories or different things to make the wheelchair work a bit better. But the most simple thing was the wheels, because it was like a blank canvas. So what I used to love was illustration, was like my main thing, and like making cartoons, and I loved like building things. So I used to love like pop-up books and stuff when I was younger. And anything kind of tactile like that. I loved that kind of stuff. So when we started out, we made all these mad kind of wheels. So we had like pop-up wheels where you could like pull a string and like they'd pop out like 3D. And so the idea is like Isabel could like go to a party and like pop the strings and like her wheels would pop out.
Did you like that, Izzy?
It was so cool.
So extra.
So extra. Slightly impractical, but like
I was waiting for that word to come into it,
But again,
maybe at the right time of year, like maybe around Halloween, that could be pretty scary.
And the idea was not that it was going to be something that was sold. It was like something that we just loved. It was very us. And then I started looking more and more into like the circle as a form and what you can do with the circle and kind of like cartoons and stuff. And we realised that the first type of cartoon was like a zoetrope. So it was like kind of stop motion. So if you spin a circle around and you create things in different segments. You can actually have, when something spins, it like moves like a cartoon.
Yeah.
So we built these wheels that worked like a cartoon. So when they spun, it would be like horses would run or birds would fly.
Like motion going.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got really went down that path, and I found out if you built like a 10-sided mirror and put it in the center and you looked in, that like so we
so
went
intricate.
So we went a bit mad, and it was really fun because basically doing it for those 9 months in college, it gave us loads of time to experiment with that kind of stuff. And then college finished, and it was kind of then where it was like, I was 22, I had kind of some business experience, but nothing really, but I knew we had this really great opportunity because Izzy's friends were all contacting us, wondering where they could get these designs.
Yeah.
So we just kind of decided, why not just start selling them?
So it was something that kind of, obviously started as a passion project and a college project as well.
Yeah.
And also something that you had kind of done yourselves since you were young in some kind of form. But was it when you noticed that this was almost an untapped market that you started to go, okay, well, the business aspect of this could actually be really affecting?
Yeah, I guess it was the response we got at the beginning, because we set up a page called Izzy Wheels on Instagram, and it was all like really colourful, and it was just very us, because we're very colourful as people, and that was really reflective in our Instagram. And we had like the end of year show, everything was on display, and we had like wheelchair in and like wheel covers suspended, and someone from Her.ie Nationwide came saw it, and they were like, do you want to come on Nationwide? And we were like so spooked, weren't we? Because we were like TV, and we also didn't really know how many people watched Nationwide.
A lot.
Loads.
Yeah.
So they like came to our house and filmed a piece there, and then it just kind of grew and grew. We got more and more messages from people wondering where they could buy them.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of the kind of turning it from a project into a business where people would pay money to get these wheel covers.
And your Instagram is so colourful. It's amazing. If anybody hasn't been onto it, go onto it. Izzy Wheels on Instagram, you'll find it straight away. And it has over 40,000 followers at the moment. I mean, Izzy, for you, because you were essentially the muse of this business, of this brand that started to really take off, was that a little bit scary for you? Were your family a little bit like, oh, well, what if you don't want to be thrust into this spotlight? Or was that ever something that you kind of considered going, oh, this is going to be massive and I don't know if I'm prepared for it?
Well, to be honest, I never thought of it from a negative perspective at all. Partly because I'm working with my sister, so I knew that I wasn't going to be, taken advantage of, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
But also because, I knew that everything that was being, the message that was being portrayed was completely me. Yeah. So I wasn't being misrepresented at all. And thirdly, because I knew that we were representing wheelchair users in a way that I know so many people want to be represented and hadn't been in the media before this. So wheelchair users do come up in TV programs and films and things, but it's often accompanied by a really tragic or sad storyline.
Yeah.
And of course that is some people's story, but it's not everyone's. It's not mine, and it's not a lot of the people who I know. So I kind of wanted to be able to show disability from a different perspective.
Yeah. And
it's so much fun. Loved it from the very beginning and still absolutely love it.
Bring on more of the fame, why not? Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, what I love about Izzy Wheels as well is that you guys have spokespeople, and I loved that. So I'm a terrible woman when it comes to like spelling mistakes and stuff like that. Like they jump out at me. It's like when you're looking at a page and you see something burning in red. So I was like, oh my God, they have an error. And then I went, no, it's spokespeople. I get it because of wheelchairs. Took me a second. But so that's people all over the world that are like sending you pictures of them with their Izzy Wheels on. And I mean, that must be an incredible thing to see it kind of take off in that way, because I mean, like, it started with Nationwide, but then I mean it went on to, like, I mean, was it on GMA, Good Morning America, like Vogue? I mean, you guys have been all over the place with this. So I mean, how has that been in terms of the actual reaction to it? Because it also happened quite quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, it happened really quickly, much faster than we kind of expected. We're prepared for at the beginning, because this started off as, you know, we're like going to build it slowly, and I went and I did like an accelerated program with Enterprise Ireland, and it was like 6 months training in, like, you know, marketing, finance, all those bits that I didn't know so much about. So I was there, I made my business plan for the next 3 years, and, you know, things in the different steps. And then something crazy happened that we just couldn't have planned, which was we had a video that went viral.
Yeah.
And it got 3 million views in a day and 16 million views in a week. And it just flipped our business plan on its head. And it was just, it was really scary.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, like, really positive, but it meant that, you know, suddenly we were getting all these orders from all over the world, which was terrifying, because we'd only ever really sold a few of them in Ireland.
And you guys had to fill the orders as well.
Of course,
like, you didn't have a workforce behind you at that time who were able to, like, get into the factory type thing.
Oh,
so
big
it was
time.
all ye. Yeah.
It was us and our family and friends who kindly help out. And
so get into the factory now.
It was a huge learning, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is so amazing, congratulations. And I was like freaking out. I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And it's always like, I'm famous. Like, that is great. But it was like super stressful. But like, we learned so much in that space of time, and we're able to ramp things up and, you know, produce more. But also something that's been so important to us is keeping everything really personal. So getting a pair of wheel covers it's a really personal gift, and a lot of people buy them as gifts.
Yeah.
And we try to make that experience so personal. So when someone orders a pair of Izzy Wheels, they come hand wrapped with a note from me and Izzy.
That's so nice.
And yeah, it's lovely because because of our brand, people feel like they kind of know us. So we want to keep that, and because we want to know them as well.
Yeah.
And so often people write back to us with their story, and they become our spokespeople.
Yeah.
So they
Love
share,
that.
and they share their story with us, and it's lovely seeing, like, you know, where they live and what kind of clothes they wear and like who they are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're sisters and we're one story and we've got like one way of dressing, but every single person who has a pair of these wheel covers have their own story.
Yeah.
So, you know, having our spokespeople of the week every week, it's been a really organic way of getting the word out there, and it just feels right to the brand and why we started it.
And I want to talk a little bit about the design of the actual wheel covers as well, because there's so many, and you have designers that get involved with you as well, because presumably when you started off, it was all kind of you. It was your cartoons and your mirrors and your pop-up things and everything like this. Like, you were the NCID wizard who was coming up with this, but you did bring in other designers. So what is that kind of element of it when it comes to that? And do the two of you collaborate when it comes to choosing the designs? And have you ever just gone, absolutely not, we don't agree on that whatsoever?
So Ailbhe's always been the more artistic one, but the fact that we are sisters, and it did start off, you know, as a brand, very luckily for me, that was like designed kind of with me so much in mind.
Yeah.
Like, she knows so much what I like anyway. So I leave the creative part to her, and I get to reap the benefits.
And you trust her, of course.
I
That's
do,
a very important thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talk us through the design elements of it then, and the different kind of designers that you get involved with.
Yeah, because obviously there's a big jump from me designing them to people we've worked with now. So we've worked with some really big brands. So it was at the beginning again, it was just after I finished college, and someone from the Irish Wheelchair Association contacted us, and they were doing a fashion show. and they were like, do you want to have some of your wheel covers in the fashion show? And I'd been looking at these same designs for the past few months from college, and I was just like, I need to make new designs. And there was going to be 10 wheel choosers in this fashion show, and I was like, I want to do 10 new designs. And everyone was like, you're going to be so burnt out, you're not going to be able to create 10 designs. And I was like, well, actually, I might ask some other people to get involved. So I reached out to some people I knew from NCAD, who were in my year, whose work I loved, or some of my old tutors as well, whose work I really admired.
Yeah.
And everyone who I asked was so delighted to do it and so eager to get involved, because it's a really fun thing to design as well, because it's a circle and it spins upside down. So it's really unusual. So everyone said yes, and we had 10 different designers then for this first collection, all Irish designers. And it was with that collection that it went viral. So then, like, straight away, we had loads of other designers and brands writing to us wondering could they get involved. So we now do 2 collections every year with around 10 different designers in each one. So we have like kind of a summer collection and a winter collection. And the designers are from all over the world. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's busy as well. Like, I mean, in terms of creating a collection, like you're talking about it, and it's very similar, what I would imagine, to the pressures and the stress which is on like the fashion industry, you know, in terms of, and especially when there's that high demand for it as well.
Yeah.
So I'll go. We are going to take a quick break now, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the future of Izzy Wheels and what's coming next. And also I have to talk to you guys about Barbie, because I was just so fascinated by that. We're always looking for ways to highlight incredible women on the show. So we sent Denise Curtin out to meet Aisling Ní Cheallaigh. She is an aerialist performer touring the world at the moment. She also introduced us to the breathtakingly beautiful world of circus performers.
This is really relaxing.
It's like the best thing ever on your back.
Wow. How do I look from this angle?
As they dry.
What happens if your hands get sweaty while you're up there?
Then
do you panic to death?
Sometimes, yeah.
To come back, it's like a massive sit-up. So you can put your hands back on the bar and then you reverse exactly what you did. So foot, 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 foot.
You make it look so easy, which is the best part of all this. Okay.
I'm Aisling Ní Cheallaigh, and I'm an aerial dancer and co-creator of How to Square a Circle.
Now, I must go back to the very, very beginning with you, because your profession is so cool and so interesting, and one that loads of people want to know about. So how did you first originally get into this?
So I was in college and I was studying medieval history.
Okay.
Total nerd, like absolute nerd. My specialty was actually medieval medical history, and I was doing my dissertation in my final year on the arrival of syphilis in Europe. Which is, yeah.
So, I'm like speechless. I'm like, what, how do I interject into this? Go on.
So basically, big nerd. But I think it was in my 3rd year, I was looking for a new fitness thing, and pole fitness was taking off in Dublin. And I was like, oh, I'll go and see. I don't know if I want to do all that sexy stuff. And I went to a class and I loved it. And I made loads of friends who are still part of that world and who are incredible, Lizette Krull and Arlene Caffrey, and people who started schools around that time and brought sexy back. And yeah, it was a really big movement that I got to see a tiny part of when I started. So I did that for about a year. I was really enjoying it, and I had been told by one of my instructors that there was a festival in Letterkenny where you could learn circus. Like, they'd let you get on trapezes and fabric and hoops, and you could actually play on them. And I didn't really believe her. I was like, no, that's not a thing. She's making that up. And about 6 months later, she sent me a screenshot or something from their website of this festival. And she's like, look, it exists, you should go. And I was just finishing up my dissertation. I was about to go into final exams. And I was thinking, you know, actually that would be something really good to look forward to. I asked all my pole friends if any of them wanted to come. Nobody did. Oh. And I almost didn't book it. And I went, no, do you know what? Back it. I'm going to book it. And if you remember, big nerd. So I was also quite introverted and didn't like the idea of doing things on my own or not knowing anybody. But I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So I went up to Letterkenny for a week, and it was exactly like she said. My first day, I walk into a theatre. From that moment, I was absolutely hooked. Like, I wanted to be up in the air all the time.
And you must have had some sort of inkling that you wanted to do it as more than maybe a hobby when you like booked that class and you were going to commit to doing it for a whole week. Were you thinking like, geez, I like this more than the average person that's in pole fitness that doesn't want to go with me?
At the time, no. Like I felt like it would just be a really good week and something new to try.
Okay.
I was also volunteering at an arts festival later on that year, which was the same idea, like, oh, I'll volunteer for 2 weeks at this festival and it'll be an experience. But I didn't plan on being like working on festivals in the future or anything like that. I was actually planning a master's and I'd started taking night classes in Latin so I could read the primary sources I wanted to read in the original. So I had no plans to pursue any career outside of history. But it slowly started to take over. So people I met at the festival were putting together a show, and together the four of us learnt aerial. Like we kept learning this kind of stuff. We found a gym where we could hang the equipment and we were teaching ourselves, which I don't recommend. It's really
I was just
dangerous.
saying, I was like, did you bring in a teacher? I was
But
like,
we had the people who taught and organised the festival. They're called Fidget Feet, and they're a touring circus company around Ireland. Very similar, like to the kind of work that we do now, where the shows are created for theatre and they're a mixture of circus and dance. So it's not like traditional circus, which is intense and moves around a lot. Well, we do move around a lot, but we're going from theatre to theatre. They gave us so much support and information as to how to safely learn, and anytime they were available, they would come and teach us.
okay. But they were constantly on the move, wasn't
They
it? So
were
it was
constantly
hard to
busy
get
working.
them.
Yeah,
like,
it was really hard to get them. So then after doing that show with those people, I knew that this was something I couldn't just stop doing, and it was like I didn't allow myself to dream that it could be my career, but it was definitely. It's funny. I didn't have it as a goal.
okay.
But I wanted it. So I should have set it as a goal, but I thought it was too high to reach for, and I thought I'd never get there, so I never set it as a goal. And if they hadn't existed, it would have been impossible to forge a career, because there's no market for it. And especially when I started, there was no market for having it at parties and things. Or if there was, people would assume you can't get that in Ireland. You'll have to get people from the UK or France or Germany to come over and perform the fabric and all that kind of thing. It's only been in the past few years that like friends of mine have started their own companies, started their own schools, and have started to sell that kind of stuff, and people are realizing Irish talent can fill those jobs. Like there's so much talent here now. And I think I was just really lucky to be in a place where I was able to get support from so many people, and I was able to spend the time. I was working in a cafe that I'd been in for years, so me taking time off was okay, because I'd kind of become integral to training in new people and things. They couldn't really fire me. So I had this freedom as well that I could go off and learn things. And I didn't actually realise what my goals were until the day I achieved them, which was a year and a half ago. I auditioned for Cirque du Soleil and I got through into their books. I was like, oh, that's so overconfident to think that I could ever make that. But I did, and I was so proud of myself in that moment. So yeah, I'd never set out in the first place to make it a career. It happened, but I was also determined to be just the best I could be at it.
Yeah.
And although working for Cirque du Soleil was a dream of mine, it's not, when I learned more about it, it's not as, I don't think it's going to feed me as much as this work does, because I get to create my own work and speak my own truth in these shows. And same working with Fidget Feet, I'm given so much creative control over how I want to move and how I want to create and be on stage. But with shows like Cirque, you just slot it into a position, and you doing this solo for 2 years, and that's your contract. So it's the same thing every day.
And I suppose that's such a big global show that, like they have to make it run almost like a machine.
And it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a wonderful company, but it's really different from running your own company.
And I suppose that's such a big global show that, like they have to make it run almost like a machine.
And it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a wonderful company, but it's really different from running your own company.
And I'd say very different from the work you want to do in a small country, compared to like the massive scale that they run on. But like that, different things suit everyone, and I think what you have here is definitely amazing. So do tell me about How to Square Circle. I'm actually dying to hear about this.
So I'm so proud of it.
It's been doing phenomenal.
It has. That's
great.
why. So normally like Ronan was actually telling me before, he was like, oh, you're doing the podcast, make sure to big yourself up. And I was like, Ronan.
Sure, he's the one that emailed us first.
I know,
he's
like, and he's really good at speaking like truthfully about things like that, but I get really, I'm like, oh, I get really embarrassed. So even to say I'm proud of the show is a big thing for me to say, because normally I'd be like, oh, it's all right, like, we did okay. But I am really proud of it. We just did a run in Dublin Fringe Festival, and we sold out every show, and then we won the London Launchpad Award as well, so we get to bring the show to London, into the English National Ballet's new theatre.
Wow.
So we are so excited about that.
And I was even looking at the bill from the places you've been to the places you're going, and there's like Portugal,
Yeah,
Barcelona, did you
festival.
say?
Oh, that's actually for training.
For
We're
training,
just going to go get better.
But even still, the travelling
yeah.
for training and everything, that's probably something that your 23-year-old self never saw coming,
Yeah.
you know, which is just absolutely phenomenal. It's I think it's only on the way up now. You've got so much ahead of you. It's fantastic. But now I think what's really exciting is I'm going to get to try to do something. This is going to be alarming for all of us, but
It's going to be great.
yeah, well, hopefully, but we won't say that yet. Who knows? But for someone that wants to start off in this, like, where do you begin, really?
The best thing is to find a class, because they weren't there when I started, and the hardest thing was to figure out, where the hell do I go for this? So there's a couple of schools in Dublin, and then there's ones in Galway, Cork, Belfast, Sligo. So there are places dotted around the country if you happen to be lucky enough to live in one of those cities. And so when you first go to one of the classes, or if you're going to learn from me now, normally we would do a little warm-up, make sure all your muscles are warm, particularly your shoulders. That would be number one injury area. And then rule number one, this is so important, don't let go. It's literally, and it's so simple.
Titanic.
So you're going to take your left hand and place it right up next to the point.
Okay.
And then you're going to lean back with just one hand.
Okay.
And then this is the scary part.
Okay.
You're going to roll your body out to the right.
Okay.
So you're going to slide it a little bit and then roll. And then you have to arch.
Oh, okay, I'm going to die, obviously.
And then,
So I go, these legs go this way, and then this arm goes this way.
yeah, and you reach out that way. So reach out towards the wheel with your right arm.
Now that I'm chalked
And
up.
you're chalked.
Okay. Okay, so what am I doing again? Oh yeah, one hand up here. One.
Slide back on the hoop a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, go to the back of your knees on it.
Okay.
It'll make it easier. Yes, and then you're gonna let go of this one, and you're gonna roll towards me. Yes, yes, roll. Keep rolling. This way. Yes, that's it. Keep holding on. Bam. And then bend at the hip to come back. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm better at the coming back. I'm like, help.
Safety is nearer.
I didn't know you rolled the whole way on your leg.
Yeah, it's
that
like
feels really painful.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
That's only the beginning.
Okay, well that was absolutely so much fun. I actually had a ball.
You're
even though,
really good at it as well.
Oh, I mean, far from it. But thank you, because it's, it's nice to get the compliment. But yes, I'm going to go now because I need to probably have an ice bath like athletes do probably, now that I am one. But yeah, I'm going to get our producer Niamh to obviously do everything off camera because she's been laughing there at me the entire time. Yeah, and rightly so, zoom that in. But yeah, everything you want to know about Aisling Show, How to Square a Circle, we're going to have it all down below in the info box, as well as all the details to your Instagram so people can see all the incredible work that you do. Yeah, yeah, this is it. This is the moment, get a close-up of that. Yeah, but thank you so much because the work that you do is absolutely incredible and it's so good to educate ourselves about it and to learn way more from you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Denise and Aisling as well. We'll put all the details about where you can go and check out her show in the description box. Denise did amazingly well. She is fantastic at The Mermaid, so she's going to give out to me for that one. So we're back with Izzy and with Ailbhe Keane of Izzy Wheels. So I wanted to ask a little bit about this Barbie collection that you did, because I saw a lot of press on it at the time. So how did that collaboration come about? Well, first off, actually, did you guys like Barbies when you were growing up?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we loved Barbies.
Big Barbie fans.
Huge Barbie fans.
Wow, I wasn't really into Barbie,
Oh,
actually.
really? Oh, no, we love Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we really liked Barbie. So it was just, yeah, we couldn't believe it when it happened. So we basically just got an email from Barbie.com.
Okay.
And I thought, it was something I was like subscribed to because that would so be something I would be to their newsletter. And, they were telling us that they were launching this new Barbie who was going to be more inclusive. And would we be interested in working with them on something?
Okay.
And so it was kind of,
So you were
they weren't giving
intrigued,
much away.
but they didn't give much away, no?
No, I kind of thought they were going to send us a Barbie, as a gift or for our Instagram or something.
Yeah.
And because we actually had a wheelchair Barbie, so she was a gift from our brother Evan. Because they used to have a wheelchair Barbie, but she was discontinued in 1997.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Evan got us a present for Christmas, and it was he got it was like a vintage Barbie, and he was really hard to find it. And as soon as I got it, I opened it out of the box and put it on my desk, and he was like, because he was in his box for years. But anyways, so that was on our desk, and we used to use it kind of for Instagram, make little mini wheels for her.
Yeah.
But just as kind of we just thought it was kind of cool. But then Barbie were relaunching a new wheelchair Barbie, and this wheelchair is going to be much more modern. And so yeah, I just thought they were going to give us a new Barbie for our desk, and they were like, do you want to arrange a call? And I was like, maybe we'll get invited to a Barbie party or something. We're getting really excited now.
I was psyched. So excited.
And then they were like, yeah, we love what you do, we love what you represent.
Yeah.
Do you want to work with us in launching this new Barbie and do a Barbie collection? And it was just the craziest thing ever. You can believe it.
Yeah.
Because just one of the biggest brands in the world, even to be noticed by them, was just so amazing. So we were working with them for a good few months before we were allowed to talk about it or anything.
Right, okay.
So that was really hard because we were really bad at keeping secrets.
I mean, you must have told some people, though.
Yeah, some people.
Friends and
do.
family.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
As long as they weren't going to Instagram about it
Of course.
or anything like that.
I think, yeah. But also, when you tell people something's going to happen and then it doesn't happen, then you feel really silly. But it actually did happen, which is good. So yeah, we worked with them on 4 different designs, and they came in full size, which Izzy's wearing one of them. And then little mini ones for Barbie's
so that's
wheelchair
the
as well.
Barbie one itself.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh,
So
look,
they're very
it's Izzy by
Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool.
It's cool as well because I think
And then they come on the
in the mini
actual
ones
dolls too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. So that was a lot of fun because, it was nice to collaborate with the brand, because for us it's we choose the designers we work with and the photographers, and this was just a whole different learning experience for us as well.
Yeah.
It was good. We learned loads.
But it's also one of those things as well, Barbie, like you said, it's such a massive brand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for them to kind of be coming around to something like this, what you were talking about earlier, Izzy, about, sometimes people having a negative reaction to your wheelchair. If Barbie is coming on board and kind of, having these dolls with Izzy Wheels on them, that's going to give young wheelchair users a completely different, relationship with their chair. And it might also give other people different relationships because of that. So, it's good. And Barbie, to be fair, obviously it's an amazing brand, but it has gotten in trouble before in the past about what it is that it's portraying as a woman for so many young girls, the whole being on your tippy toes and only being a nurse and all this kind of stuff. So it's good to see them doing different things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So something I think is so important is teaching kids from a young age, whether they have disabilities themselves or be able-bodied, about disability and normalising it. So, obviously Barbie as a brand is so iconic. So it's such a powerful way to be able to teach children about a disability in a positive way and, make it something cool and not scary. Because we often laugh about it when I'm out and about and children are with their parents or whatever in, say, the supermarket, and a kid shouts across the shop what's that? I want that, you know, about my chair. And, you know, the parents are like, oh no, shh, don't be rude. And I like really encourage the kids to say things like that, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And like, I don't want the parent or the child to feel awkward about my wheelchair or the topic. And I think it's really important through the use of like toys and dolls to teach kids about a disability, not to be afraid of it, and you know, to ask questions, and adults can ask questions too. So
and not to be afraid of maybe saying the wrong thing as well.
Exactly.
That's the thing, because like I do think that there is that almost like, you know, you'd remember being young and like your parents just like whatever about pointing at something that you didn't understand or something, and they'd just yank you and tug you, like, don't be doing that. But there's never any real explanation as to, have I done something wrong? Or like maybe, you know, if it was someone like you, Izzy, like you would actually enjoy that conversation of like, tell me about your chair. Like they're drawn to these incredible colours and this design, and they want to know more about it. So that has to be a positive thing.
Definitely.
You know?
And how are they going to learn? Like, I'd much rather a person, you know, a child or anyone in general learn about my disability from me rather than, you know, from a book or something medical, because I can tell my story my way.
And do you feel, because obviously it's an incredible thing that you guys are doing and the business is doing really well as well, but do you feel, Ailbhe, that there's a sense of responsibility on you now, like what Izzy is talking about, just about, you know, it's almost like your tagline that you have, I suppose, like if you can't stand up, stand out. Like it's so, it hits it on the, like it hits it literally on the head. It's a perfect way to describe what it is that you guys are doing. But is there that sense of pressure to kind of make sure that, you know, you're reaching the masses and you're getting across what it is that you're trying to do with the business? Because unlike a lot of businesses, you know, there is this beautiful thing that you're doing when it comes to disabilities and teaching people and bringing positivity to something that historically hasn't necessarily been positive in Ireland, you know?
Oh yeah, big time. I guess because like this started off as something that we were just like something that we were really passionate about and that we really cared about, and because it kind of grew so quickly and then there was so many people looking at it, like a huge number of our followers aren't wheelchair users. Most of them aren't, they're just people who love the designs. So we do have a responsibility to use our platform to educate people about disability positivity, and that it doesn't have to be something really clinical, it can be something really positive. And but like we feel really privileged that we do have that platform and that people are so supportive. Like it's really like, dream come true. We love it.
I would say Enterprise Ireland weren't expecting that you guys were going to go viral, though. I don't know whether they would have like had that. I think Enterprise Ireland are brilliant for what they do for small businesses, especially when they're starting out. But like going viral like that, I can just imagine them just being like, what?
Well, nobody knew what to do, because like it was so scary, because like every time I refresh my phone, you'd have like 100 new emails and like orders and questions, and like I just like put my phone in flight mode and had to lie down. I was so freaked out.
Sometimes when it's too busy, just take a nap.
It was terrifying. And also like I never set this up to expose us. Like we weren't ready for that yet, really, on a personal level, in that people were suddenly like recognizing Izzy in the street, because I set this up as something really positive, and I never wanted to like put Izzy in a vulnerable situation that people would know who she was. It's grand in Galway, you know, but it would just be like, I don't know, it was a bit freaky, but
it's so funny because most people really want to be Instagram famous, do you know what I mean? Like so many people want to just be famous online now, and that happened for you guys pretty much overnight, essentially, with a viral video.
And it was just purely accidental. But even like looking back to the very beginning, like me and Izzy entering the business world, we were such unexpected businesswomen, I think, just because like we stood out a lot when we went to events, because you know it'd be like dress code, and it'd be like, you know, like smart casual, and we'd be like sequins, like, and people would be like in their suits, and like we'd be going to like pitches and stuff for things, and we just like at the beginning we're like, do we like go and buy a suit now? I just think like what we had in our mind for like what's a business person and what's a businesswoman, which is totally wrong. Like,
and did you get any kind of backlash from the business world slightly about like coming in with this, not only a colourful idea, but physically being very colourful too?
Well, I guess people have probably thought we were a bit odd, but we kind of just like embrace that. We've always been a bit odd, but we kind of like that, you know, it means people remember us then.
Yeah. And the business world have kind of accepted what it is that you're doing. Yeah.
We've even noticed like such a shift even from when we started to now. Like there's way more women at business events and people aren't afraid to wear a bit of colour.
Yeah.
And yeah, we really like it.
Why not? So speaking of business then, so, you know, what is the future of Izzy Wheels? So you are here full-time in Dublin and you're working, Ailbhe. Izzy, you're back and forth because you're still studying in college. So what are you studying in college?
So I'm doing arts in NUIG, studying French, politics and sociology. Such a mouthful.
So you're busy.
Yeah, it's so nice to have the two things going on. And yeah, so I'm part-time with Izzy Wheels, so it's the best thing ever to have, you know, going on as well as college, because it's so different, but it's so fun and it is like really, really good experience, and it's with my sister, so we just have great crack. Like.
Yeah. And then what's it like for you then, Ailbhe, like full-time, working on the business, working on the brand? What's the future in terms of progression?
Well, it's hard work. I guess I spent the first 2 years kind of learning the different areas of the business. Like the content creation is my favourite thing and what I'm strongest at. So we do all our own content for our Instagram and our social channels. So we're purely online, we're e-commerce.
Yeah.
So everything is done online. So that's what we love doing. And then there's all the other parts of the business that we've learned about, but that we'd love to like grow our team. So there's only so much that we can do. So now that we kind of have a good understanding of all the different parts, we'd like to, grow our team and just creating more cool products.
Yeah.
And working with more and more big brands. So like we've worked with a whole range of different like illustrators and artists, and that'll always be kind of at the core of what we do.
Yeah.
But working with brands is something that's, it's really cool because everyone, like say with Barbie, everyone knows Barbie. And working with more big brands just to get, you know, like disability is so overlooked in the fashion world.
Yeah.
To get more disability representation in the fashion world, that's like super important to us. So that's why, you know, like being in Vogue, being in Cosmopolitan, in Forbes, all those big publications, that it's really important to have, as Izzy was saying, disability representation, but in a positive way. That's not like a tragic story or like an inspirational story. That's just normal people who are fashionable people.
It's a story. It's what you guys are doing. Like you're making a business as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that you started off with because it's something that like affected you guys.
Yeah,
and now
totally.
you're growing it into something incredible. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys in. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to see where Izzy Wheels goes in the future. So I really appreciate it, Ailbhe and Izzy. And all the information you can go and check out on izzywheels.com. That's the website.
Yes.
And also on Instagram as well. You just have to look for Izzy Wheels and it comes up, and you can't miss it because it looks exactly like these guys. So it's very, very colourful. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.